Hi, I'm happy to be here. Okay. Hi, I'm AJ Burkhart. I recently watched the new Amazon freebie show called Jury Duty. Jury Duty is like a real-life Truman show. Everyone's a paid rehearsed actor except one dude, Ronald Gladden, who looks like Dave Franco if he was afraid to do drugs. Ronald Gladden, a solar contractor from San Diego who your grandma would approve of, who both Democrats and Republicans think is a pretty good guy, who looks like Don Draper mixed with a soft, nice, but maybe a little bit meek husband. Like his wife thinks that he's like so great, but maybe he's too agreeable. Like she wants him to at least have an opinion when they order food or something, because she wants to know that he's being real with her, but she fears that his meekness is an indicator that he doesn't truly know himself, and therefore she can never truly know him. That's what Ronald Gladden looks like. Anyway, Ronald thinks that he's serving on a jury about a trial where a guy's being sued for peeing all over a fancy lady's clothes. And he knows that the whole thing is being filmed, but he's been told that they're making a low-budget documentary, like for a local news station or something, about what it's like to serve on a jury. So the entire jury, including Ronald, ends up with their cell phones being taken and being isolated in a hotel over 3.5 weeks of filming. Actor James Marsden, also known as Mr. Bone Structure, plays a self-centered version of himself, and he's also another juror. And again, everything. The case, the courthouse, the judge, the 11 other jurors are staged, and everyone knows except Ronald. Jury Duty was co-created by Lee Eisenberg and Gene Stupnitsky, writers of The Office, Bad Teacher, Good Boys, and a lot of other shows that have made you and or your slightly more conservative parents laugh. They present Jury Duty as a different, more ethical reality show. They are quick to say that it isn't a prank show. Instead, their intention was to put Ronald on a hero's journey, where he becomes the leader and bands a group of misfits together. In an interview, Marsden says, "We're kind of playing God a little bit in this. I need to make sure it was more than just getting a laugh out of it. It had to have more heart than that, and I think it does." In that quote, Marsden outlines the ethical quandaries of the show. They're tricking this guy, but maybe it's not such a bad trick. In this video, I'm going to look at the ethics of Jury Duty. Do the show's benefits outweigh the harms for our protagonist, Ronald? And if so, could Jury Duty give us hope for a future with more ethical reality shows? Oh, and just a heads up, this video is bursting with spoilers. It's like spurting spoilers out right and left, just like gushing these wet, hot, sticky spoilers. So watch at your discretion. More and more, I think we are starting to question the ethics of a lot of reality content. Last year, there was a major lawsuit from season 2 Love is Blind cast member Jeremy Hartwell, who said that the show deprived contestants of food, water, and sleep, and that it encouraged them to drink alcohol and paid them very little, especially considering they worked 20-hour days. I think that this brought up a lot of questions about the ethical cost of reality TV, and they are really important questions to ask, especially in light of the writer's strike that's happening right now, which is probably going to lead to even more reality TV being produced. In 2018, Amy Kaufman wrote Bachelor Nation, which was one of the first intensive looks behind the scenes of a reality show, in this case, The Bachelor, and the book addressed the ways that the crew allegedly manipulated the contestants and encouraged them to drink a lot, especially without having eaten. But honestly, Bachelor Nation, I think, was a big deal for a lot of people when it came out, but nowadays it kind of doesn't seem like that big of a deal. A separate but overlapping category of reality-based content is prank content. And prank content on YouTube and TikTok has been seen as kind of cringe and overdone for a while, but now we're seeing how dangerous it can be. Like when Alex and Alan Stokes were arrested for calling 911 to report a fake emergency as part of a bank robbery video. Or in 2020, when another content creator in Ohio was taken into police custody for a bank robbery prank. Or there's Timothy Wilkes, who was shot and killed while filming a fake robbery prank. Also, Nickisnotgreen made a great video on the ethics of Nathan Fielder's most recent show, The Rehearsal, which reminds me of Jury Duty in some ways. He asked about the show's ethics, and my video is partly inspired by that work. But let's get back to Jury Duty. Jury Duty didn't want to identify with prank content at all, and that makes sense. In interviews, Marsden was quick to say, "I didn't want to do a prank show. We're not pranking him. We created the hero's journey for Ronald and surrounded him with a bunch of weirdos, and hopefully by the end of the show, he becomes a leader and unites us all." Just up front, I was really critical of this premise. To me, it felt kind of condescending. You're tricking this guy into feeling like a leader and then patting yourself on the back for it. I don't know. You don't know my Ronald? I will fight someone for Ronald's honor. Don't fuck with my Ronnie. Ronnie! I should add in a little Jersey Shore clip, okay? And honestly, in this interview with Ronald Gladden, Marsden came off as kind of condescending. Like, he keeps talking about what a great guy Ronald is, and like at the beginning they like pat each other in these uncomfortable like man ways. I don't know. It made me feel weird. I want to know if it made you feel weird. Let me know. But I was really worried that the producers were gonna say like, oh, we're so different. They were gonna be like, wait, let me get my shades. Actually, like, we care. We're good guys. Unlike other producers, we're like good guys. Actually, we're good guys. Actually, we're good guys. Actually, we're good guys. Anyway, that's what I was worried the producers were doing. Like, they're saying they're good guys, but actually they're misleading an unconsenting guy so that the audience can laugh at him. So yeah, I went into this show cautiously because I saw a lot of potential harm for Ronnie, for my boy Ronnie. There can be really big psychological ramifications of being lied to or misled about the nature of reality in an isolated environment for an extended period of time. And it's hard to assess the impacts of this kind of harm, right? Like, I think it really depends on context and the person. Like, I know for me, I played Resistance Avalon one time with my best friends, and by the end, all my friends had become my enemies, and like the fabric of my reality unraveled. I knew I could never trust anyone again. But that's just me. I'm not Ronald. There are smaller harms too, like wasted time. The show took place over 17 days. Ronald listened to 30 hours of court proceedings that were entirely made up, and he spent countless hours deliberating and a huge amount of energy on a case that wasn't even real. And he can't get that time back. That's a real cost. We can't quantify the potential harms, but we have a general idea of what they were. The question then is, in what ways did Ronald benefit? And could a person reasonably assume that the benefits outweighed the harms? During Ronald's pre-jury interview, he told the documentary crew that he was looking for adventure. And right away, I think that choosing Ronald for this reason was more ethical than choosing someone who, say, hates surprises and adventure. And they probably hate cake too, because they suck. Sorry, I don't actually think they suck. I just like those things. A huge benefit is that Ronald now has an international reputation of being a good person. He has since blown up on social media, and it seems like he's pretty happy with the attention he's getting because he is promoting the show on his Instagram. Jury Duty portrays Ronald as an overall good guy, and that's really emphasized in the last episode. The crew created juror Todd Gregory to annoy Ronald. Gregory looks like Jamie Lee Curtis if she grew up during the Great Potato Famine, but he has the mind of Doc from Back to the Future. Gregory loves inventing gadgets that make other people feel uncomfortable, like chair pants that he has to take off in the middle of the courtroom, and also take his pants off along with them. But Ronald supports Todd through all this and encourages him to be himself. We see multiple times when Ronald could publicly talk shit about people, but he doesn't. And in the last episode, we see a previously cut scene when Ronald is genuinely angry after Marsden destroys a cake in a fit of diva-like rage. Although the female version of a hustler is a diva, Marsden's actions went too far, and the crew makes him apologize to Ronald. The way the real-life actors approached the project might also be beneficial to Ronald. In the final episode, the actors say that they fell in love with Ronald and that 90% of their time with him they weren't acting, and they genuinely bonded with him. They all hung out with Ronald after the show. The genuine kindness and connection that it seems like they made might have made the fact that they were also really betraying him like a little less traumatic. Plus, Ronald might have positive, lasting relationships with some of the actors. And most of us like those things. Human connections. They're good. The golden crusted icing on the cake for me, that $100K baby. The producers just gave Ronald $100,000 in the last episode. No one asked them to, they just did it. And part of this could be seen as manipulative because they gave him the money right after they told him that the last 3 weeks of his life were a lie. But also, that's $100 times 1,000. That's enough money to buy 100 3.4-ounce bottles of Kim Kardashian's Gold Reflections body lotion, buy a pool, then hire someone to pour all of that lotion into the pool so that you can swim in it. That's enough money to hire a gangly but polite Northern European man to act as your human footstool. That's enough money to feel not worried about rent. What I'm saying is that's enough money to change your life. And there are a lot of ways that the producers maximize the benefits that Ronald got from the show. Everyone involved in the show had a lot at stake. And this feels a lot more ethical because it shifts traditional power dynamics in reality shows. Everyone isn't just sitting on some throne watching from afar and laughing at Ronald. They're invested. They care about Ronald, maybe, and they encourage the audience to care as well. Plus, there could only be one take for this kind of show. Like, there's no redos. So all the crew, producers, writers, set designers, actors felt the pressure not to mess up. And a lot rode especially on the actors who were with Ronald all the time, every day. They had hours of additional meetings and check-ins to rehearse and plan ahead. Even for the bigger actors like James Marsden, a mistake could ruin his career or at least make a whole cast and crew hate him if he messed up. This was also the first reality show that I'd seen that took both Ronald and the viewers behind the curtain. After revealing the premise of the show to Ronald in the final episode, they took him behind the scenes. He got to see the equipment and the setup, and he was given the power to ask any questions that he wanted. Ronald, and we, the viewers at home, saw a lot of infrastructure and people who are normally behind the scenes. This makes the show more accountable and just kind of creates more transparency. Also, in the final episode, the show made a point to highlight the lesser known actors featured, which I thought was just like cool of them. Like, they didn't have to, you know? These are not well-known actors, but they really put themselves on the line for this job. Ronald left the show saying that he wants to do more to help. He'd been genuinely supportive of Todd and the rest of the jury, and he'd felt the impact of the work that he was trying to do as foreman. And I don't think that any of this was forced by the crew. I think that this was a genuine realization that he had, and it means that the hero's journey thing worked? The corniest idea that I was like so sassy about earlier? Was it condescending? Was it manipulative? Or did Ronald end up learning about himself through the process? But still, this feels fundamentally manipulative, right? Tricking someone into a positive self-realization is still tricking them. I don't know, that's what I'm grappling with right now at least. Which makes me wonder, would I care if I was Ronald? And I don't think I would. Like, I think I would be pretty happy at having a realization that I wanted to do more to help. And like Ronald, I really like adventure and new experiences, and cake that isn't smashed. I haven't had to experience the emotional whiplash of being misled for weeks. But I imagine that if I was in Ronald's shoes, I would feel really excited about it all. In fact, I kind of found myself like feeling a little jelly that Ronald got to like have this whole adventure just put on him, because I'd love for my life to have like more excitement and more opportunity. And $100,000. I could use that too. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really thought jury duty was really interesting, and I would love to hear all of your opinions. Like and subscribe if you want, or if you don't want to, still do it. That's it. Bye. See you.